Hi, Epic Recaps here, and today I'm going to explain to you a 2007 American sci-fi horror film titled 28 Weeks Later. If you want to be spoiled, keep watching. During the outbreak of the rage virus in England, Alice and her husband Don hide in a country house with 4 other people. Don and Alice are grateful that their children are on a school trip outside of Britain, and are not infected. Don and Alice are preparing a meal, when there's a lot of banging on the front door. It's a little boy who hasn't been infected. Looking outside, they see that the infected have followed the little boy and the cottage is soon overrun. Several infected people burst through the cottage while the survivors frantically try to run away. Don runs upstairs and tells Alice to leave the boy who's hiding in the closet. An infected comes between Alice and Don. Alice screams for Don to help her, but he cowardly shuts the door and jumps out a window. Don makes it to the dock, where Jacob is already untying a boat. Don and Jacob get in, but an infected knocks Jacob out and into the water. Don tries to get him into the boat, but Jacob is submerged and blood pools around the boat. Don makes it down the river and is full of remorse for leaving Alice. Scarlett, an American doctor, watches a plane land at the airport. Among the people that have arrived is Tammy and her little brother Andy. Scarlett is upset that it will take all day to process the civilians, and no one told her that they are now bringing in kids. Everyone undergoes several health inspections, and Scarlett notices that Andy's eyes are different colors, a trait he inherited from his mother. After everyone passes the health examinations, the civilians are taken via subway to District 1, the designated safe zone that they will now live in. District 1 has 24-hour power, hot/cold water, a supermarket, and a pub. The district is full of American personnel, whose job is to protect the people. Snipers are placed on all the rooftops, and we are introduced to Doyle, who passes the boredom by joking around with his fellow snipers and his friend Flynn, a helicopter pilot. The civilians are strongly advised not to leave the safety zone, as the immediate areas are still not cleared. The subway arrives at the station, and Tammy and Andy are reunited with their father, Don. They embrace each other, happy that they're together again. All of this happens as General Stone watches the civilians via cameras placed throughout the city. Scarlett tells Stone that she's upset about not being notified of children coming into the city, as they haven't prepared for minors yet. She's afraid that the infection could come back, but Stone tells her that if it does they'll execute Code Red, which is the order to lock everything down and terminate all those infected. The civilians are all living inside a huge apartment building, until American troops can find houses fit for habitation and assign individual property to everyone. Don is the head janitor of District 1, and so has access to the entire zone. He also lives in the penthouse of the apartment building, which makes the kids happy. As the family gets settled in, Don tells his kids that the apartment is temporary until they can get another home. When Andy asks what happened to their mother, Don lies, and says that there was nothing that he could do. In the middle of the night, Andy tells Tammy that he's scared he's going to forget what his mother looks like. Tammy assures him that he won't, and the next day they plan to go back to their home to get photos and personal belongings. In the morning, the kids sneak past soldiers on a bridge and run around outside of the safety zone. They make it to their home and go inside. Andy takes a picture of his mother and the kids pack some clothes into bags. When Andy goes outside and jumps on a trampoline, he sees someone in the attic. Thinking it's Tammy, he goes upstairs and finds someone cowering in the corner. Andy is shocked to find that it's Alice, who's alive after all. They embrace each other, but Alice hugs too hard and starts to hurt Andy. He breaks free of his mother and they run outside to find soldiers in gas masks waiting for them. The soldiers find Alice and Scarlett examines her and notices that Alice's left eye has blood in it. She sees that she has a bite mark on her arm, and takes a blood sample. Don is called by the soldiers to a room where his children are being held. He's upset that they went outside of the safety zone, but the kids are angry that he lied to them about Alice. Don can hardly believe that she's alive. He leaves and sneaks through the facility, looking for his wife. Meanwhile, Scarlett tells Stone that Alice is infected with the rage virus, but she doesn't have the same symptoms as the other infected. Instead of turning violent, she's become a carrier for the virus. She can still infect others through saliva or blood, and Stone becomes convinced to execute her. Scarlett wants to do more work on her, but Stone tells her that she can continue her work on Alice's corpse. Don eventually finds Alice and gains access to the room she's in. She's still strapped down, and he tearfully apologizes for leaving her behind. She says that she still loves him, and they kiss. Saliva gets into Don's mouth, and he starts to violently become infected. Don, fully infected, turns on Alice. He beats her with his bare hands and bites her throat. Don then gruesomely shoves his thumbs through her eyes and smashes her head, killing her. He escapes from the room and goes on a killing frenzy, attacking every soldier he comes across. Stone sees the blood and dead soldiers. He executes Code Red and has the facility shut down. The soldier watching Andy and Tammy tells them that everything's alright, and leaves the room to find out what's going on. While in the hallway, he's attacked by an infected. The infected soldier bursts into the room and pounds on the glass separating them. His head is blown off by Scarlet, who frees the kids and leads them through the facility. With the base under lockdown, Scarlet tries to convince the troops to allow the kids to leave. Andy gets separated from them, and is herded into the basement with the other civilians. Andy, scared and alone, sits by himself near the back of the room. Don bursts in, and Andy sees that he's infected. Don grabs a civilian and vomits blood onto him, and the infection quickly spreads throughout the basement while everyone panics in the dark. Andy manages to climb into an air vent and stays there as he hears people being killed and infected. The civilians break out of the room and run up the stairs, but are chased after by the infected. They make it outside, and Stone orders his men to only aim for the infected. Unable to tell the living from the infected, Stone orders the soldiers to kill everyone. Andy climbs out of the air vent and Doyle shoots an infected near him, allowing him to run into the supermarket, where other people are hiding. Doyle leaves his position and goes after the boy. Inside, Andy is reunited with Tammy and Scarlet. Doyle shows up. Knowing that everyone will be wiped out due to Code Red, Doyle volunteers to lead the survivors to safety. As they run through the empty city, Andy gets a glimpse of Don following them. Flynn calls Doyle and tells him that they are going to bomb the city in 4 minutes, so they set up a meeting point to get out. A sniper fires on the group, killing a few survivors and wounding Scarlet, before Doyle is able to locate and kill him. The remaining survivors run to a tunnel in the subway and brace themselves as the city is firebombed, filling the streets with explosions and fire. The infected are blown away, but Don manages to survive the attack. The explosions destroy the camera set up around the city. On the last remaining camera, Stone sees the infected running straight for the command center. Elsewhere, the survivors make it across the bridge and wait at an abandoned carnival. Scarlet tells Doyle that Alice had a genetic trait that caused her to be immune, and that it's possible the trait has been passed on to the kids. Therefore, it's imperative that the kids survive so that there's a possibility for a cure. Flynn flies to the location and is happy that Doyle is still alive. As the survivors wait for the helicopter, Doyle sees several infected lurking on the horizon. Flynn tips the nose down and cuts through the infected with the helicopter blades, cutting them into pieces. Unable to land, Doyle and Flynn set up another rendezvous point and Flynn flies away, but not before telling Doyle to ditch the survivors. Doyle, Scarlet, Andy, and Tammy run away with the infected right behind them. Doyle shoots them with his rifle, but there are too many. They run into a street and see that it's filled with gas. Realizing that the soldiers are resorting to chemical weapons, Doyle gets everybody inside a car. They cover the vents and their mouths while the infected bang on the car. The gas quickly kills the infected around them. Scarlet tries to start the car as soldiers are walking towards them, wearing gas masks and setting the corpses on fire with flamethrowers. The car won't start, and Doyle quickly jumps out and begins to push the car. The engine finally starts, but Doyle is torched by the soldiers as Tammy and Andy watch on in horror. The streets are quickly beginning to fill with gas and Scarlet is forced to drive into a subway station when a helicopter starts to shoot at the car. Since there are no lights, Scarlet leads the kids through the station using the night vision on Doyle's sniper rifle. In the darkness the kids are scared but she guides them around corpses down an escalator. Tammy and Andy wind up falling down the escalator, and Scarlet frantically searches for them. She finds Tammy, but can't find Andy. While they search for him, Don shows up and beats Scarlet to death with the rifle. Don chases Andy down and bites his neck. Tammy picks up the rifle and shoots Don to death. Tammy breaks down and cries over the loss of her family, but it turns out Andy's still alive, and he gets up and runs off down the tunnel. Tammy tells him that they'll always be together and chases after him. After a while, Andy collapses on the tracks, and when he gets up, Tammy realizes that he's not infected, though he has blood in one of his eyes. Andy, like his mother, is immune to the virus but has become a carrier. The kids make it to the rendezvous point, where Flynn holds them at gunpoint. After realizing that Doyle is dead, he lets the kids onto the helicopter. Flynn flies them to safety as they pass the burning ruins of District 1. 28 days later, Flynn's helicopter has crashed in a field in France. The film ends with the infected running towards the Eiffel Tower. The end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment down below. For more movie recaps, don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. See you next time.